Welcome to the beginning of the podcast. Chad is freaking out. You can hear him already.
Mildly
Absolutely
freaking out.
mild. Well, you said you were really
Well,
freaking out. Now you're saying
yeah.
mildly. As soon as you record something, the tune changes. I'm mildly
Yeah.
freaking out. I'm just
That's
joking.
the smoke and mirrors of Instagram and of
The smoking.
social media. I'm really freaking out, but on the podcast, I'm just a little freaking out. But I'm not happy with the amount of work that's coming in and the amount of bids we're not winning at this time. I must have taken my foot off the gas last fall, and it's led to a domino effect that's now taking place
But you have some
in the
names on the
spring.
list, I saw.
We've got some names on the list, but they're not all ready and they can't all go first thing in the spring. Actually, most of them can't go first thing in the spring, and a lot of them I'll be waiting on other people to do. It's just not full. Like I'm not up to my neck in it like it was the last few years. So maybe I'm afraid of change.
Everyone's afraid of change.
Time to start a YouTube channel.
People who embrace
2023.
people who
No,
embrace
2024.
change, people who truly embrace change turn into Bezos and Elon Musk. And that guy that died that used to own Apple.
Steve Jobs.
Those are people that truly embrace change. That's why they're super rich. If you truly embrace change, you either end up homeless under a bridge or crazy rich. And the rest of us don't actually embrace change or like it. And that's how we all kind of end up muddled in the middle. This is like scientifically proven by me because I don't like change and I'm muddled up in the middle.
When was
Philosopher King today?
Yeah.
What?
You're a philosopher king tonight.
Oh, yeah. Deep. Fucking deep. You want to know what happened to me? This is an interesting story. So on Saturday night, Kelly was sick. Her stomach was upset. So she said, "You're in charge of getting food for you and Nate." So she said, "Order pizza." I said, "Okay." And I couldn't order the pizza. I don't know why. I kept starting it and stopping it and downloading apps and getting new apps. And I was crazily indecisive on it. And by 8 o'clock at night, after 3 hours of this going on, there was still no pizza ordered.
Oof.
And so I came upstairs to Kelly, who was sick and in bed, and she said, "Where's the pizza?" And I said, "I still haven't ordered it." She said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, to be perfectly honest about the situation, I'm struggling with ordering this pizza. I had downloaded the Domino's app, but then wasn't happy with the selection, deleted it, went on Skip the Dishes, thought about getting Pizzaville. I just couldn't. I found this place called Red Swan that made custom pizza. I was going to get it from there. Anyways, I said to her, I can't make a decision. My brain is like mush or something. I'm deeply struggling with this. And she said to me, "You know why?" And I said, "No." And she said, "It's because Bill almost died on the job site today. And the anxiety that you have from that and how deeply you care about all those people is why you can't function anymore because your brain is still scrambled from that moment." And she was right. When I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I don't think I've functioned particularly well since the skid of granite almost fell on Bill.
Wow.
So I was unable. I thought, wow, like I guess that's what happens with, like, I don't know. People always say things about like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that or my brain gets. And I was like, maybe I have some side of like, when it happened and the skid of granite flipped off the crane and landed on the deck of the truck, the police officer that was standing beside Kelly said to her, "Wow, this construction shit's really dangerous, eh?" And Kelly was like, "No disrespect, bro, because I understand you put your life on the line all the time, every day. But these guys do stuff that could kill them on a daily basis, like it's nothing, every time I'm near them." I hadn't really thought about that either. Anyways, yeah, one of the lifts went bad on the weekend after you were gone, Chad. I mostly blame Mike.
Mm.
One of the lifts went bad, and there's a few reasons. At the end of the day, it's all my fault because I'm in control of the job site, and so it all rests on my shoulders. And um, I let people that were from other companies that are in charge of us make decisions about things we were doing. And then there was the near miss, we'll call it, which Mike actually has video of, and I haven't decided whether or not to put the video of it on Instagram.
Could it go viral?
No, I haven't put it up yet.
No, I know, but does it have potential to go viral?
It's not really that. Like, if you were there and you saw what we were doing and you saw it and you see it happen on the video, I think you would have a deep understanding of how dangerous it was.
I don't doubt that it was dangerous, and I don't want to make light of it. But with the right music, could it go viral?
Maybe. Right now, my video of, to get off this deep topic about my brain and anxiety and not being able to order pizza. I posted a video of, because Kelly came and ran the sign on Saturday because we thought we were going to be down a Jack, who ended up showing up anyways. And then Mike, I'm sure, had a flourishing, robust conversation about knowing your numbers with Jack.
I had a good conversation with Jack.
Jack seems like your kind of dude.
Jack's
We got
the
into
only one who
crypto,
knows my
NFTs.
numbers.
Jack knows the numbers, baby. He knows them.
Yeah. He knows all the numbers.
And so Kelly said, when we were driving in the morning, she's like, I brought a banana and green tea and protein bars for lunch. I went, oh yeah. Because everyone thought we'd probably only be a half day. I was like, oh, she's like, what do you think the other guys brought? I'm like, nothing. Or energy drinks. I'm like, I didn't bring anything. I don't think I drank anything that day. And so we made a video where we asked Ricky what he brought for lunch on Saturday, and he brought a pack of cigarettes. But that video is suddenly going viral. It started picking up steam yesterday, and it's taken off. So I don't know how viral. I mean, viral for me, but we'll see how viral it actually goes. But yeah, it was an eventful Saturday, I guess. The Granite is up there, though. The guys from DPR are, and two of our team guys, Kyle and Lucas, are up there installing the Granite. I heard it's going good. So no one's throwing each other out the balcony, so I'll call that a win.
Do they have to be tied off whenever they're up there?
If they're outside the bump line.
Okay.
There's a bump line, so if they're outside the bump line, then so that's why Jordan and Derek were tied off on Saturday, because they were outside the bump line managing the skids. So yeah.
Neat project to be a part of.
Yeah.
It
Cool to
was
see.
really fun and cool until the skid flipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this
can
is
imagine.
actually epically dangerous, and I'm in charge of all these people that could die. Sick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you have anyone walk underneath the barricade whenever there were things being lifted? Like, did
People
anyone
try
get
all the
around the
time.
police officers?
People try all the time because they're stupid.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Or my favorite part of that job actually is we have the stop sign up because there's a dangerous crane lift, and the stop sign's up on both sides. And then there's a police officer there, and the people say, well, what should I do? And the police officer directs them to walk in between the trucks and then run through the pyloned road to get to the other side of the street. I was like, I don't know that's, I mean, if you were looking at pure know the numbers percentages on blindly running between two trucks across a street full of pylons in Toronto, or something from a crane landing on your head, I think you're actually safer to walk under the crane than to blindly run across the street. I've seen more people almost die on that job blindly running across the street. I mean, other than the one thing that fell on the crane, I mean, we've done a lot of lifts. I think your percentages of death are much higher wandering the streets, not at a crosswalk in Toronto, than they are standing under the shit from the crane
On Young Street, nonetheless.
on Young Street, nonetheless. Yeah, it is a neat job. It is a fun job. I've enjoyed it. It's been a unique experience, and it uh, I certainly feel like I guess cool when all our trucks are sitting there with our logos on them on the Young
Yeah.
Street, all pyloned off with a crane and stuff. I think it's kind of a cool thing.
And it finally brought all of us three together in person for the first time.
It did, yeah.
Even though it was short.
Year and a half
Sweet.
later.
Year and a
Short
half
but
later.
sweet. It was a great experience. We got a picture. Oh, I did. You two were failing at that. Yeah, I think it's a good we're gonna make money on it, which I mean I was a little nervous when we took it because it's a very broken thing. You go down, you lift the HPB, you wait a week. You go down, you lift the planter, you build it for 2 days, you wait till the weekend. You go down, you swing the granite up, you do the granite, and now there's all that's left is 40 bags of soil to go in the planter and 100 mil tree and some mulch. So that'll be the completion of the gig.
Nice.
In March, nonetheless, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to get. We can't do it this weekend because the permit wasn't applied for, and it takes 7 to 10 days to get a crane permit. The crane permit thing in Toronto is wild to me. They don't release the permit. They don't approve or disapprove your permit until like end of day Friday if you want to lift on Saturday. So
Oh,
like
really?
Friday at 3:30, you still don't know if you got a permit.
Wow.
It's wild. It's like the first week we did it, it gave me like I was like really freaking out. Because I was like, what if we don't get this permit? Like trucks are coming, we got people coordinated. What goes and now after I'm officially a veteran of crane lifting now on Young Street. So now I don't even think about the permit. I just don't care, I guess. Now I'm like, it's not my responsibility anyways. It's the general contractor's responsibility to take care of all the crane shit. So like if we're here craning and it's without a permit, it ain't gonna be my fine. I don't fucking care. You do you. They're taking care of the crane and the permits. So I was like, I want nothing to do with that. That seems hell of a complicated
Yeah. Absolutely.
and risky. So I'm
Yeah.
sure that my insurance company is watching every fucking video and they're gonna just put me through the ringer in August. Likely what's gonna happen. So multi-lift trucks are extremely complex and there's a lot of sensors and they get dirty and then the hooks won't win. There's a whole rigmarole with them. I'm very familiar with it now. So I went to the same contractor, Andrew from Fluidscapes. I went to pick up a bin from his job today. And Cody's truck, the hook wouldn't go back because she was off today, the new one, to pick the bin up off the ground. And I was like, well, that's inconvenient. But conveniently, we have two other trucks. So I drove that truck back to the yard, called Brad, said, hey, this truck's fucked. Got my truck, which I only wasn't driving because it's a tandem. And the new one's a triaxle, so it gives you a bit more weight on the half load roads. And I drove it down and had the empty bin, picked up the bin, emptied it, brought back the gravel, dumped it, and then the bin wouldn't come off the truck.
Great.
And I was like,
Just awesome.
so then I thought, I'm going to fix this the landscaper way. So I engaged the PTO and I put my foot on the floor and I tried to shove the bin off as hard as I could. And instead, I blew up some old rusted line and hydraulic fluid started coming out. I was like,
Yikes.
Yikes.
so I concluded in that moment that Cody being off for one day, I managed to slaughter 2 out of 3 trucks. So I went back to the yard, screamed fuck in the snow, and I went home. feeling like I had done more damage by participating than I had done
Great.
good. And that's how it went for me today.
Will that video bring in more leads?
Probably.
We also blew up 2 of our trucks yesterday.
Really?
Both of our tandems shit the bed.
Wow.
The Cummins, you'll be driving down the road and all of a sudden it'll just quit. Like all the gauges hit 0. You have nothing. Engine brake comes on and you can coast to the side of the road. Sit there for a second, turn the key, and you fire back off and you're going.
Sweet.
But the problem is it stalls 5 or 6 times.
Oh,
and
not good.
I mean, every time it'll fire right back up and you can go, but we still can't have the truck just stopping all the time. So
That seems
drove it down.
impractical.
Yeah, we drove it down the road to the mechanic and said, okay, well, we still got 1 truck left. We were hauling gravel all day to the yard with half loads. So like, what can a tandem haul? We were trying to put 8 in it, but that's
It's overweight.
overweight, right? Like you can probably put
technically triaxles. So if you wanted to act, it's not really half loads; it's load restrictions.
yeah 5 tons per axle. So
5 tons per axle. So you're good for 15 ton, and your truck probably weighs 10
yeah,
or 11. What do you know what it actually weighs when it tears in?
10.6.
Yeah, so you're good for 4 ton,
Yeah,
4.5
which
ton.
I'm at that. I might as well take the F550s.
You're probably better off.
So we were running 8 tons of gravel. It's literally, you're maybe on the road for 30 to 40 seconds between the quarry road and my road. But I mean, there's still a possibility that you can get pinched, right?
Yes.
So we said, let's take our chances with 8. It's not 12 or 15.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's slightly better, but anyway, so we were down to 1 truck and my tarp stopped working. Stop at the mechanic when we drop off the first truck. He said, Neil, do you have a fuse? My tarp stopped working. Sure, no problem. How's the 30? Find where it goes. The tarp fuse is a 50.
Jesus.
So we take out the burnt 50 and we put in this 30.
That won't
The
work.
only thing that we changed, and then I said, Shane, you run this truck. I'm going home to have some lunch. There's only 1 truck anyway. Just keep hauling gravel. Sure. Get a phone call 10 minutes later. The truck won't shift. It's stuck in first and it's blowing black smoke. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll meet you at the mechanic, which is 2 minutes down the road, and I'll pick you up. He's like, okay, I'll take the quarry road so that I'm off the main road. So now both trucks have been sitting there for, well, all of yesterday and today. We have no clue what's wrong with them. And we can't get any work done anyway. So that's that.
So I killed 2 trucks and you killed 1. I'm still winning.
No, I killed 2. Well, the business killed 2 trucks, I guess.
But you killed 1 personally.
I killed 1.
I killed 2 personally.
Yeah, but by comparison, I guess all the problems are my fault because it's my business. So I guess I did kill the 2 trucks.
That's true.
Right. So
heavy weighs the weight on the shoulders.
that's it. So I got a rock truck coming tomorrow. I'm gonna dig a pond at the yard.
Nice.
Hopefully I'll dig away my sorrows of the week, having lost some major jobs and
What happened with your wall job?
blown up. Yeah, got given away.
Really?
Ooh.
Got given away. We put our best foot forward, and I'm almost positive it was, well, it must have been very close to the lowest one. Don't know how you could work for much less than we were willing to work for, but someone's doing it. So, well, there goes that.
Yikes.
Easy
Yeah, I'm
come,
having
easy go.
having a similar experience. It's like we quoted a resident. I haven't quoted a lot of residential, but I did quote one, and it had driveway in it. I don't know. It had the driveway, and Nancy had a big planting plan with a bunch of armor stone and some mega flag and mulch and dry river beds and like artistic crap that she likes. And I don't know. I think it was like 60 grand. And you had a whole driveway in it too, right? Like, and the driveway was
Yeah.
that new weird permacon one that makes all those weird shapes, and
Circle thing.
it'll do like circles and stuff. So I looked that up. At the pattern the guy wanted, it said 12 steps to laying this pattern, and I was like, 12
Ooh.
steps, 12 steps, 12. I'm like, we're landscapers, man. When our bell came out, there was 3 steps. Make a trillium. Make a trillium. Make a trillium. It was 3 steps. That probably you guys were in kindergarten.
No,
when I was
pause on
doing-
that one. The first time we laid Mega Arbel,
Yeah.
nobody I was with knew how to make the pattern. And these are 50, 60-year-old men who've been
Yes.
landscaping for ages, right? Imagine the time that 4 geriatric landscapers spent trying to figure out what the pattern would be for those.
Oh,
And they were taking into consideration the false lines. I'm like, the false lines don't matter at all,
they don't matter.
right? And they're like, well, yeah, because they have to touch here. And I'm just like, that's not how it works. And it literally
Wow.
took them 2 days because they didn't pull up a manual or anything. I mean, this was 20 years ago. They didn't have manuals for the shit, or they probably had a paper
So-
manual, but
I have a similar Arbel story. Some client requested it for a small, like 150 square foot walkway, which makes no sense. Now,
No.
if someone said to me, I'd say, fuck you. You know how much cutting that is? Like, I'm not doing that. But back in the day, Mike charged forward, blinded by the fact that he actually sold the job. So I went to the supplier, and I graphically remember this. I went to Arnt's, and Sean, who still works there, was there to give me the stone or however he was. And he said, do you want the laying pattern for that? It's kind of different. And I looked at him and said, bro, I need hundreds of thousands. Like, fuck off. I can figure it out. And like 2 hours later, with my tail between my legs, I wandered back in. I said, hey, man, you still got that laying pattern? Because I don't know how to do it. And he gave it to me, and I learned it. So I remember when it was popular, and we used to do a lot of patios out of it.
We did enough out of them, yeah.
Every job, every morning, I would go and be like, okay, this is the pattern. The guys would be like, awesome. And then the next morning, I'd be like, okay, let's get back to the pattern. This is
We
pattern.
had to do the same thing. I worked with this old guy named Danny, and Danny had a speech impediment. He couldn't say his R's. So every morning you would say, okay, Danny, we're laying Mega Arbel. You have to make the flower, right? Because it's the 3 points. And he would walk around the rest of the day, make the flower, make the flower, make the flower.
Yeah. I had people doing that too.
Make the flower. So.
But once you learn the pattern, that stone actually goes down inherently fast.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about straightening your lines or anything. Like,
no, it's very fast.
Unnecessarily heavy, but I suppose to be expected for an 80 mil stone.
Yeah, it was heavy. Yeah. It was a heavy stone. Originally, there was like Arbel before the Mega Arbel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought that was Rosebell because they also had a Rosebell.
Rosebell
which
came
is the
out
dogs
after.
and chickens, right?
Dogs and it's dogs and chickens.
Yeah.
And Teco had one too.
Yeah.
Called
Flagstone.
Flagstone.
Which
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense. Yeah. Those were the days. Back in the day when people wanted their pavers to look natural.
Like a crusty old salt flat or something.
Now people want them to look like, I don't know. Huge
Not pavers at all.
Not pavers at all. Yeah. Huge tiles.
Yeah.
I had 2 meetings yesterday. And in the first meeting, a big client of ours was like, hey, I got this job. Can you give me like your subs name so I could call them and get them to do this job? I was like, okay, I don't have any work, bro. Like I could do it.
Yeah. I can do what the subs could
I have
do.
nothing to do. Like, come June, I'm basically going to start living in a tent. So, like, maybe we could. So that happened to me, which is, I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't super positive, I guess. And then I went to another meeting with another big trucking client of ours, where we were debating the new soil haulage laws.
Mm-hmm.
And in that meeting, the services I supply for them, the guy was basically like, "Yeah, we make no money off what you do for us, so we should probably stop doing it." And I was like, "Perfect. This has been a very productive day so far."
Yeah. Sounds like my day. Yeah.
This is not I'm waking up to saying to myself, I gotta be times are tough, so you gotta wake up with your glass half full.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you're fucked. You might as well just quit now. But yesterday it was hard. After the second meeting, I was like, man, you're like a really important client of ours. And I really think that what we do is valuable. But I guess it's not. I was like, fuck.
That's a kick in the pants.
Yeah.
Like that's not what you want to hear at all.
No, it was not. And then I broke 2 trucks today. I have broken bin trucks so many times now, though, that I decided in the yard to start tearing them apart myself. And the first bin truck I broke, I actually tore apart the hook at the back, took off the cover. Well, I didn't tear it apart. That's an exaggeration. I took the cover off and I cleaned it out and I wiped the sensor and it started working. I was like, go, Mike. You accomplished something in the snowstorm. The other one, I lifted the cover off and found the blown line and sent a picture of it to Brad because that's about the level of what I could do about it. I uncovered it, found it was leaking, and sent a picture to someone who could actually fix it. I'm like, oh.
Nice.
I was still pretty proud of myself for doing something. Yeah. I felt like when I got back to the yard today, after all the hubbubaloo that went on with these 2 trucks and the bins for me today, I was like, I need to get one of these things running or I need to give up. This is a make or break moment at -4 in this snowstorm in March. Either I get one of these trucks going or I just quit. I was like, I'm going to stay in this yard in this snowstorm. It's supposed to go down to -10. I don't care how long I have to stand here. I really think I can get one of these trucks going, and I believe in myself to do it. So I crawled around on the trucks by myself in the yard without my cell phone. And I'm pretty unsteady and fat, thinking the whole time, if I slip and fall, I'll probably freeze to death in the yard unconscious. But I'm fixing one of these goddamn trucks today. I'm better than this. I'm not giving up. And I got one running. And I was like, oh, good. Nice. Now I have to find a job. I had consoled myself that either I was getting a truck running or I was getting a job. Something was happening. I got a truck running.
And something happened, yeah.
Well, nice. I got it running, and then I got home. I was like, oh shit! Now I got to make a schedule for tomorrow. Fuck! I was almost out. It's so close to get, and then fixing the truck dragged me back in. I just felt like it was a watershed moment for me. I'm like, I've fucking broken 2 trucks. I have 3 of these fucking things. I have bins going out tomorrow. People are counting on us. There's 3 of them now. And I still can't keep 2 on the fucking road. So I fixed one myself. Sort of. I think it's probably still not totally fixed, but the hook was working when I left the yard, so I called it a win.
Yeah. Well,
it was all I had in the last 48 hours. Yeah, it was all I had.
We got a small job today that
signed up.
Was sort of like a little glimmer of hope in this shitty fucking week.
It was the lady with her wall that got beat on.
No. I won't entertain her call, but no.
Things aren't that bad yet.
An estimated. No. Although I did take a one of this GC called me. They're like, "Do you want to do like an 8x8 trowel concrete pad?" I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "It's inside a building in a washroom." I'm like, "Okay, I could probably do that. Sure, put me down for yes." And I'm like, is there anything, is there like tile going over it? He's like, yeah, they're retiling the bathroom after. So it's fucking perfect. So it doesn't even have to be nice. They just
No.
need someone who can work concrete half-ass. I'm like, I can do that. I was just hoping it wasn't like decorative trowel concrete or didn't have to be nice or anything. I can make it. I can't make it beautiful just because I'm not a concrete guy. But what are you doing getting the landscaper to finish your interior concrete? But this is what I'm like, yeah, I could do that. So like half a day work with a laborer, probably wheeling concrete through the school. So this much? He's like, okay, I'll put it down. Like, holy fuck. I've fallen far in a year. I'm pricing interior concrete work for like less than $1,000. Like,
At least you're not giving out your subs numbers to clients so they can take your work.
so they can take your work. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be one of those years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is 100% going to be one of those years, brother. But
When was the last time you started your season this early though?
I haven't. I don't think maybe once
Yeah.
I started mid-March. I remember being up in Black Donald, which is north of Ottawa or something, and we put in an armor stone wall in the water because the water was drained out of the lake or something, and it was muddy and all that shit. But we were working mid-March, but never
Even
been this
thinking
early.
back to my supplier days, like I would always tell them I'm ready to work whenever because I didn't even go to class anyways, so I was always available. And even then, it wasn't until like April when I would start anyways,
Yeah,
at the earliest.
don't get me wrong. I have enough. I'm just not. My cup isn't overflowing like it has
I
in the
still think
past.
like coming out of March break, people weren't looking for work. Any like residential clients were just focused on March break, and then now coming out of March break, they're probably just coming off of that. And then I think like in this next week or so, if the weather does continue to hold, we just had a blizzard today, so I still think we got
it's
time.
supposed to snow 15 centimeters on Friday night.
Yeah, I still think we
Is
got
it?
lots of time.
Oh, I wanted to get going on some stuff.
And I say that because
Well,
I've had quite a few messages from people wondering what are things like.
oh, we're getting snow too, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody I know just pulled their plows off their trucks.
Oh yeah.
Took their salters off and everything. Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. Sounds like someone else's problem. Um,
Oh, I was just messaging with a guy and I said, how many videos? Because all these guys were making videos of bringing their equipment off the site. Like driving their little RTVs home and, oh, I'm cleaning out my site. What a great winter season. And I guess you're going to salt the fuck out of that 15 centimeters, bro. I mean,
Ooh.
it's supposed
Yeah,
to
but they
get,
probably have all of this surplus salt that they didn't use all
that's true.
season
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
hard in the sea can or whatever it is. And yeah,
Yeah, Friday we're getting hit.
us too now. 15 centimeters. You're right. I should have texted to everyone I know that does snow and upset them. I'm going to do it.
10 to
Sounds
15.
like someone else's problem.
When do snow contracts usually stop?
April 15th,
Oh,
usually.
okay.
I made sure to, whenever I did snow, I would put April 1st. And a lot of people would miss it, right? But I would be off liability April 1st,
Okay.
Yeah.
which is,
A lot of people are putting March 15th now as the end of their contracts.
ooh, I like that even better than March 1st or than April 1st. Oh. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Didn't we get questions, Mike?
Yeah, we got questions. You guys want to get into them?
Let's get into the fucking questions.
There's quite a few. We got hours worth.
Rapid fire, bitches.
No, we don't have hours. We can take our time here. Um, so
Sometimes one question can last a whole episode.
that's true. This is true. But at least then we got a bank of episodes that we can always come back to, which is good to have.
Yeah.
Ravisco Landscaping on the subject asks how far you guys are booked up, how the season is looking for each one of you.
Well,
We have work, steady work till the end of May.
That's good.
April's full. May is full. We'd probably residentially get to be booking for June. And my commercial side is like Swiss cheese. I got holes everywhere. And they're all moving around all the time. So we could plug some of that up or not. And then we just put everybody on residential. Do we bid a tree job? I don't know. We'll just go. We'll roll with it. I got some shit to do at my place. I got to build a septic bed and all that. So
You guys made it sound so much worse, but I've got probably worse than you guys, and I'm the optimistic one.
what do you have?
I don't have much. I gotta follow up with a bunch of people from last year. That would probably be like a month's worth of work. And I've got a bunch of leads. I just signed up a pool patio, so that's probably about a couple of weeks. I probably got like a solid month and a half to 2 months. But I am gonna have a full-time guy come back this year. I just met with him this week. He worked for me for 2 years, and he's coming back from teaching on a reservation up north and doesn't want to teach anymore. So he's gonna be back full-time at when did teachers stop? June, something like that.
Yeah,
July
back
1st.
June onward.
July 1st, I think.
Oh, July 1st. He'll be back July 1st onward.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put him in his own truck and everything, or
Yeah, I'll give him my truck.
take it slow? Nice.
Yeah. And see what he wants to do with that, and we'll take it from there.
Do you think you're gonna keep him full time after, or do you think is he going back to teaching?
So he is actually Spanish speaking. So I'm gonna have him stay on full time and hopefully translate my software into Spanish.
No way.
Yeah. My courses too. So that's kind of the goal.
Huh. That's cool.
Really?
I like that.
You're gonna have Spanish courses? That's a good idea.
Yeah. That's the whole goal there.
Guys like multitasking.
Yeah.
Love it.
We'll see how that works out.
Now you have to keep him busy. I guess if you have a day where he's not busy, you can tell him to translate some videos.
Yeah, there's always going to be something for him to do too.
Rain days, he'll be translating stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good fucking plan. I like that plan.
Yeah.
So that answers our booked up question. HVC _construction asks, talk about getting paid on time. Always important.
What's that?
PK?
Oh my god.
I don't have a story on this.
We looked at this job. The job came across the wire. And Jack and I, it's a good job. It's in our general work area, but it's for us. It's not, we're not pricing it to the general, we're pricing it to a green roof guy that we'll call skyscraper. Because I don't even, like, I always refer to this person as skyscraper in all the conversations I've had. It's not actually their name, so I'm not worried about saying skyscraper. I couldn't be bothered to learn the name of their company. But in the end, we decided not to price it because I'm never pricing work again to a subcontractor of a general. I will only price work to the general contractor.
Straight to the general.
Because as soon as you price to the sub of the general and you are now as the sub of the sub, you have no rights. Which is what happened to me at the art gallery, which is why we're like going to take a $50,000 hit, because had we been working directly for the general, we would have got all our money. But because we were working for a sub of the general, and the general paid the sub, and then the sub didn't pay us, we have no rights on the job.
Nice.
All we have a right to is the holdback money. So, which is like 10% of the overall thing, right? Which is peanuts. So, in terms of what they're saying, like getting paid on time, if you're going to do commercial work, I would tell you to only price to the general. Do not ever price to a sub of the general. That's my Paver King life advice. And what's funny is when we told the guy we wouldn't price to him because he was a sub of the general, the guy like freaked out and got mad.
Doesn't seem like someone you want to work for anyway.
I was like, I don't know, call someone else then, dude. Like, what the fuck do you care what we're doing? Like, Jack sent a nice email saying, hey, like, there's just too much inherent risk here, and we're not willing to take on that inherent risk right now. So we're going to decline the offer to price the job. And the guy, the guy sent an email back like, what are you talking about inherent risk? You're covered by the CCDC. I'm like, actually, we're not. Dude, you are. Good for you. Good fucking, but being the sub of a second sub of a third sub of the general, we're not covered for shit, buddy. And I know that. So fuck off. Anyways, I might be a little bit bitter about not getting paid on that job. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Got pretty excited about it. Freaked out.
Here's the question. If you are a sub and your GC offers you 5% less than your bill for payment at 30 days, do you take it?
I wouldn't take 5.
Let it ride.
We take 2% off for fast payment on every job.
Really?
Yeah, just because I would rather have the money. Well, we're also obviously been fucked a whole bunch of times recently.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like, if we had shit tons of money in the bank and I knew we were okay, I probably wouldn't do that. But I also, for 2% on most of the bills, I would way rather have control of the money and be able to do what I want to do with the money. Like, you could invest that money and be making 7 to 10% over 2%.
Yeah, but they're supposed to pay after 30 anyway, so.
But they don't.
But they don't, right?
Yeah.
And my little brain wouldn't be smart enough to invest that 2% into something that makes 7 or 8 or 10%. You know.
But you could buy a bucket with it.
Yeah, I can buy a bucket with that.
Start screening soil.
Well, not for $2,000 or 2%.
No, but with the bulk of the money you could. That's what I'm saying. Like,
the bulk of the money.
Say like,
you're right.
If you're liquid and you're in a position where you have millions of dollars in the bank or whatever it is, it becomes irrelevant. I agree with you.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But if you're looking at making a major purchase and you're like, when I get paid, I'll make that purchase, but I don't want to give the 2%. Give the 2% and buy that and start making money with it, and the 2% doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can turn it around.
I mean, when like, if I say to you, I owe you $100,000, I'll give you $98,000 today, or you can wait 90 days to get $100,000. In my mind, it makes no sense to wait for the $2,000. You're holding up 100. You're holding,
you are.
Even if you're super padded, there's an argument. There's an argument both ways. I agree with you, but even if you're super padded, who holds up $98,000 over $2,000?
I would say, why can't you pay me all my money now? You're supposed to be able to pay.
And they would say, we're just not going to, bro. And that's the way it is. Sorry, man.
That's the power of the GC.
It is the power of the GC.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how the GCs make, because if the GCs short, say they owe $1 million and they owe 10 different people $100,000, and they all say, I want $98,000 more than I want to wait the next 90 days to get $2,000. The GC just made 10 grand.
$10,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Off of your own money that they
Of your
had
own
to pay
money.
you anyway.
And
And
just to be fair, I totally agree with your point. I 100% agree with you. But the reality of the situation is I'm not holding up $98,000 for 2 grand.
I can appreciate the reality of the situation. Fortunately, at this point, I don't have to exercise that 2% loss right now, right? And that's a huge blessing because not everybody's in that boat. A lot of people aren't, most
Yeah.
people aren't in that boat, you know.
No. Yeah, I would guess that most people would give up 2 grand because even people who are in a financially stable position, most of them would rather take that $98,000 and put it into Bitcoin that's going up 10% a day.
Not now, it isn't.
5% today,
5%.
Go up.
but it
Yeah,
dropped
it's-
like 7% yesterday.
Yeah, so
Well, but it's still way up. Like,
It's gonna keep going up.
that's your prediction.
Yeah, the halving event hasn't happened yet, and that's usually what causes it to go up by the end of this year.
So buy now or what? Or
I'm
did you
not
miss the
saying
boat?
anything, but I am not giving
People come here
financial
for
advice.
that type of advice, I think.
that's what they're
I-
thinking.
I'll
If not
just say
then
that
what?
after every halving event, every 6 months afterwards, it kind of skyrockets after that.
Skyrockets. Wow.
Yes. Happened in 2020, happened in 2016, happened in 2012.
When is it having again?
Next month.
Buy now. take all your 2%.
Take all your 98,000 from your 100,000 and buy.
But Jack actually
Buy.
is not a Bitcoin advocate. Jack was very much against it.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Why?
We talked quite a bit about it. Why? It doesn't process transactions as much as fast as it could be used as like a real world asset. The argument against that is Bitcoin maximalists would be that it's more so a store of value, and the value is that there's no founder to it either as well. Nobody knows who or if the founder even exists anymore. So there's two sides to it. Just depends on where you want to sit with it.
Where do you sit with it?
I think it's always good to diversify.
To the moon.
To the moon.
To the moon.
To the moon.
That being said, I've got an abundance of NFT cards if anybody's interested.
What were those things everyone was buying? NFTs?
Yeah,
What happened with that shit?
Are those still around?
they're still around. I got a bunch of here with me.
But weren't people paying like $250,000 for like a gorilla or something like that? Like
Yeah, they're slowly coming back. Like I've seen people buying very expensive ones again. It just follows the path of crypto, right? So
Yeah.
fingers crossed that happens with how much I put into this thing.
But didn't you buy physical cards?
Yeah, they're physical cards, and they've got a QR code on the back of them. So if you scan it, you get the NFT version of the card.
So how much were the cards?
Oh, how much are they, or how much did I spend on them? Two very different questions. They range. Like the lowest you can list them for is $1. So the least that you can get is $1. Just most people won't even buy the dollar cards. But like I've got some cards in my account that I could probably get like $1,000 for right now. Depends. And then also depends on events coming up too. That they take a snapshot of like where people are at on the leaderboard, and that usually pumps the prices up a little bit.
Where are you at on the leaderboard?
I was at number 59, and I decided to sell as opposed to go for top 50. Top 50 is like that cutoff where you get a pretty good card, and I've decided to sell because it's like another $2,000 to get into that top 50 that I'm not willing to spend.
If you had more jobs booked, maybe.
No, I can't justify it. I'd rather capitalize on the money that I've already put into it, and then in the secondary market, hopefully pick up that top 50 card for what I sold for.
The secondary market.
Yeah.
This seems so complex. My brain is
That's
fried.
complicated.
I can't even fucking order pizza.
They I went to a demonstration today for a smart level. Is that what it is? Thing with the tube? Yeah. So that was $2,000. Would you say your money's better spent on a smart level or NFTs for $2,000 to go up to your next level?
NFTs.
Maybe you should get Nancy into NFTs then.
Your money is better thrown in the fireplace and used for heat midwinter, in my opinion.
So the guy who was doing the presentation was like really French, and generally I wouldn't make
Listen
fun
to
of
the French.
people's. Yeah, no, wow, no, I wouldn't make fun of people's ability to speak English because I can't speak French. But was
They would
talking
make
about
fun of you.
how the yeah probably
They probably
how
have legislation that requires them to make fun of you.
So they got the tube in the level is filled with mineral oil, right? And he kept calling it Baby Johnson oil. So you just have to fill it with Baby Johnson oil instead of Johnson's baby oil.
Right.
So I'm trying to hold it in, and this guy's trying to be serious with his presentation and shit, and I couldn't.
Why did you go to this?
I couldn't. Because I wanted to see I wanted to see it actually work, right? And for the most part, it seems a lot like, you know, that Moisure. Yeah, it seems like the exact same thing, but this thing has a fucking tube attached to it. From what
I think this thing's more accurate.
Seeing. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Like
I got the U level.
I don't think it's more accurate.
So they did show something that was neat, right? Like you can get the app on your phone or whatever, and some guy can be like, say you're digging a hole or foundation or something like that. There's a guy in the hole with the stick, and that it can shoot that measurement from the stick to the operator's phone. So instead of yelling at the guy down 6 more inches or whatever, he can see the depth that he's at. Actually, it's like a really poor man's grade control, but you still need the man in the hole.
Yeah.
Or you could get a laser, and the guy could just listen for the beep and then dig.
Yeah.
Also an option without a weird tube full of baby oil.
But with this option, your operator could be deaf. You can have a deaf operator.
Okay. You win.
It's all about accessibility.
I was asked today if I had...
NDL is a big time accessibility place.
Yeah.
I was asked today, we were playing with a new GC, if we had an accessibility program for people working.
And who did you call to get one?
If I what? Well, I phoned up my friends in the industry, and through some connections, we have a health and safety policy straight from the king himself. So it appears that my inclusivity policy is aligned with Favor King's inclusivity policy. So I can say I'm equally as inclusive as Favor King.
Nice.
And it's aligned with whoever I took it from.
Yeah. But yeah, they asked if we had an inclusivity policy or if we were owned by a minority, 51% owned by a minority or something like that. I'm like, this is fucking construction here. You want the lowest price and the best job. What the fuck does it matter if I'm part of a minority or not? Like, this is getting out of hand, I think.
But that's what all the Arrive Cam scams were. All the Arrive Cam, they're not scams. Okay, that's a bad word. Whatever. Oh, they were scams. A lot of that Arrive Cam stuff was you have to have the companies
Yeah.
that are owned by indigenous people, and so they would some of these people were like 2% indigenous or something, and claiming that they were indigenous people, and then they were taking all the money and then subcontracting all the non-work that never got done out. So it wasn't really like, the whole thing isn't really supporting indigenous people or helping them. It's just
Yeah.
people running a game. It's the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's people in the States who have women-owned companies because the United States government has to give out 50% of the contracts to companies owned by women, federal contracts.
I think this whole thing is a bit ridiculous. If we're
You
looking for
you wouldn't
quality,
if you weren't a white male, maybe you wouldn't think it was ridiculous.
yeah, I
Just
suppose, but
playing devil's advocate here, being a white male.
no, you're right. You're right. I think we're going to be the minority soon, though. So when
White males?
when do we get to play that card? Yeah.
I don't
When do we
know.
get the minority card?
I don't think you
that'll
do.
come?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. No.
You're never getting that.
No.
I'm just saying that, people who, if you're a woman who wants to own a construction company, you might like that.
Just yeah. Yeah.
Or why don't you
nothing
just,
against women owning construction companies. I think they can do absolutely everything men can.
Why don't you
For the
sell
most
your
part.
company to your wife? Take advantage of that.
On as far as the law is concerned, I suppose she does own 50% as my wife, right? Not on paper. I'm the owner, but I mean, what would a divorce lawyer have to say? That's a
I
whole
have
other
one.
thing, right?
I have one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got lots of lawyers. Jesus fuck.
You got one of everything. Yeah.
My divorce finally came through this week after 14 years.
Nice.
What? Really?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
End of an era. Not a great era,
Congratulations.
but an era. There's some time in my life I'll never get back. I think this is offensive. I'm actually pretty sure this is offensive. So if you're offended by things, you shouldn't listen to this. But I've often thought that marrying an indigenous woman in a wheelchair is the ultimate.
Because the
No-
parking.
No tax. You can get federal contracts because your company could be owned by a woman or by an indigenous person, and you get hell of a parking. Like if you were basing getting married solely on what you could get from it, and we're taking,
which a lot of women do, to be fair.
well, we're taking richness out of the equation. We're talking about just the person. What can you garner from just that person that's not money? I think you have a hard time beating an indigenous woman in a wheelchair. Like you're both bringing nothing in except who you are as a person.
I was gonna say something, but I'm not. I'm just gonna bite my tongue.
Well, you try to get sponsors, so you probably shouldn't say it.
We, on a slightly unrelated note, we have a worker.
Thank God.
How did we
named
get from
Gord.
crypto and out NFTs to this? What happened?
We have a worker named Gordon, and Gordon used to drink quite heavily. Hopefully, he's not mad about me saying that. But he also had this girlfriend who was Native American, and they got in the sauce one night, and she took a brass eagle, like a bronze statue of an eagle, and threw it at his head. He nearly died from that brass eagle impact. So,
who has a random brass eagle around?
I don't. People who drink a lot. I
have
don't know.
I have no brass statues in my house, and I've never felt the need to own a brass statue.
No, me either. But
I could see how a brass eagle impacting your skull could be dangerous.
that's for sure.
Yeah, I could see how that could be dangerous. Mike, let's pick a different question.
Let's go.
That
Get a
went all
different
sorts
question
of
here.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one on a oh yeah.
So that all
Yeah.
stemmed from talk about getting paid on time.
You want to burn another hour? Let's go. What do you got?
When was the last time you got paid on time, Chad? Like for without prompting, someone, a general contractor, just paid you on time.
I can't remember. I don't think we have one general contractor who works for a homeowner that everything goes through, and that comes in on 30 days without question. But I'm not, that sort of counts as residential. So we're not going to lump that into commercial stuff. For straight commercial, never, never, not once. Not unless you're shaking the cage.
Hard.
Hard.
So
Yeah.
we did get paid our first draw from the Canadian Museum with a 2% discount. We got paid exactly on time.
Well, that's all right.
It was, I agree, it was all right.
Yeah.
It was fucking great. It was
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you.
Go ahead, Mike.